first I wanted to level set on kind of what the state of ransomware and BEC is, and then let's layer in Gen AI. So, one of the barometers for what's going on with any type of attack pattern, which ransomware is one of, um, is the Verizon Data Breach Report. So I always kind of go there first to say, what's the state of things? Year over year, ransomware, quote unquote, is down, but the combination of ransomware and pure play extortion attacks, so that's compromising of data exfiltration without the ransomware, and other forms of extortion, combine those two things are up. So ransomware is still very much a credible threat. Extortion seeing a little bit of a hockey stick, and ransomware kind of on a quote unquote slow decline, although you wouldn't really know it. And when I was looking for some interesting data to kind of discuss what's happening inside the threat actor landscape with ransomware, I came across the SANS ransomware case stats. And they look at basically a bunch of ransomware cases and come up with information year over year. It's almost somewhat similar to like the FBI IC3 data. And what they noted, well, I thought was very interesting, is that almost 1/5 of all attacks occurring in the ransomware space in 2023 occurred using variants that did not exist in the prior year. So that means there's a rapid cycle between newcomers coming on stage and becoming highly productive in terms of gaining quote unquote market share within the ransomware attack space. So why is that important? So that's kind of where we've been. Why is that important? Because at the end of last year, there were a bunch of very important takedowns. You had Lockbit takedown, Quackbot takedown, Black Hat takedown. Black Hat sort of successful, but not really. They kind of came back, but then they exit scammed one of their affiliates named Nachi. We'll talk about him in a minute. Lockbit also appears to be surviving. They're down, they're not out. They're still in the, one of the most productive ransomware actors in play right now. But Clop and Play, who are kind of your established groups, have been around for a while, meaning 2022 or 2023. They remain very active. So does Black Basta. They're kind of in your top five typically. But there's a lot of newcomers on the scene, and the reason this is important is whenever there's a lot of takedowns and you see ransomware operators like Black Hat exit scanning their affiliates, which means they don't pay them, they keep the money for themselves, and then they close operations and eventually reopen under a new umbrella. That creates this ecosystem where the affiliates are really concerned, and they're trying to find ways, well, how do I maintain my revenues, my profits? And so that's creating some interesting stuff going on in the ransomware ecosystem. So we kind of had this like valley after the takedowns like early this year, but coming through March, like we're coming, look, all the data is kind of pointing to us coming back up in terms of productive ransomware. So this new list of ransomware, what we'll call the newcomers, the new class. This is kind of my watch list for the ones that I'm tracking that I think have the most likely success to find their way into the top 10, especially because a couple of them are reinvented from prior very successful variants, such as Akira and Hunters, which was previously believed to be Hive. So let's talk about the affiliates. So everyone I think at this point is familiar with Change Healthcare. The ransomware affiliate Nachi that facilitated that attack was exit scammed by Black Hat or Alpha. And then they left and actually went over to Ransom Hub, and Ransom Hub is now leaking the data from that Nachi had also downloaded, and trying to hold them for ransom again. So that's one example of that affiliate finding a new home and using another ransomware operator to kind of recover the what they're quote unquote owed. A Scattered Spider obviously had came out of a group called the Community. This is a bunch of UK, European, US, and Canadian native English speaking groups, most probably well known for their attacks against MGM casinos, and several other large attacks. Um, they continue to be very active in this ransomware space, although there is law enforcement closing in on them, but they're kind of an in the wind operator looking for a new home. And some of the things the ransomware actors have been doing are pretty interesting. Medusa has actually offered a sliding payout scale and 24/7 support. So they're kind of out there making sales pitches to affiliates. Um, come use my service. And the reason Ransom Hub is interesting is if you think about what happened to Nachi, the reason Nachi wound up at Ransom Hub is Ransom Hub is actually offering exit scam protection. So the way a normal operation works, the ransomware operator collects the payment and then distributes the funds back to the affiliate. That's what allows the exit scam to work, so the operator can maintain it. With Ransom Hub, the affiliate collects the payment and then pays the 10% due back to their operator. So that really puts the revenue stream back in the hands of the affiliate, and that's ultimately why Nachi wound up there. So there's a lot of ransomware affiliates right now trying to figure out how to insulate themselves from these type of large law enforcement actions, from being exit scammed. And what we're seeing, there's an interesting article from Chain Analysis, the number of strains that an affiliate seems to be using at any given time appears to be increasing. So is that because they're experimenting, trying to find a new ransomware variant that they think is less likely to take down? Or is it because they want to be able to have something in their back pocket ready to go in case there's future disruptions? But there's a lot of churn in this ecosystem right now. And my prediction is that you're going to see 2 or 3 of those folks on the watch list become very, very active and very successful in the next year or two. That's just typically